As I said to you before, Christians, little do you know, right? You lot have so much hatred towards, Muhammad and so forth, and towards the religion of Islam. I don't fault you, whatever the case is, right? But did you know that Muhammad was actually Christian? Did you know in one point in history that was a very sacrosanct name, Mahmoud or Muhammad or whatever you want to put it, right? It was a very sacrosanct name. And we're going to go through that right now. And we're going to show you guys. So, in your dialogues against Muslims, Christians specifically, you're going to have something in your artillery that'll be like, hurrah, this is food for thought that Muslims should get curious about and understand, like, what? What is this Christianness? Why? What is this? What is this about? Right? So let's get into this. Let's get into this real quickly. So for most people who don't know that we're talking right now about the 6th century. I always have to separate things for people and in a nice clear imagery fashion so you guys can understand where I'm from and talking about. So I'm talking about the 6th century. Here on the left-hand side, I guess it will be left-hand side, depending on how it shows on the camera. You will see over there from 500 AD to 560 AD. This is the time period that I'm talking about or discussing right here, the 6th century. Okay. Then over in the middle, you have, in the middle you have, the traditional dating of Muhammad of Islam. Okay. As you can see there, from 670 to 632. When I'm discussing Muhammad, okay, because everybody likes this, the Prophet Muhammad, the Apostle Muhammad, etc., etc. It's like everybody's just familiar with the middle one right here. That's all they're familiar with. This figure. I'm telling you that there was a figure that predated, was anteceded, right, by a 6th century Abyssinian one. Okay, that is the one that I am discussing with you guys, and I want you guys to learn about so you can understand the Christian origins of all of this stuff. Okay, the one in the middle, unfortunately, was taken over via propaganda, politics, and all sorts was going on to create this narrative of this Muhammad in the middle. Okay? The narrative that most people are familiar with is the middle one, which was taken over from the one on the left, 6th century. And they used it. The political leaders used it. They created narratives, they carved, they created a whole new Muhammad for you guys to follow. But it was all based upon the 6th century. What was going on in the 6th century? Let me just quickly go into this. So, over here, right, like, what's in the name Muhammad? Okay, most people don't know, yet again, that Muhammad is really Christian, let me just put this over here. There you go. No, let me do this. I'll do it like that. Most people don't know, right, that Muhammad in the 6th century, guess what? It was a South Arabian / Abyssinian name for God. They had two names. Christians had two names for God. They either had the name Rahman or Rahmanun and the name Mahmud or Muhammad. Those were the two names for their deity. Pause for a second. Really let that settle into your heads. Right? I really want you all to settle that into your heads. Because again, most people don't know history. I'll keep on saying it. Most people are historically ignorant, and guess what? They're racially prejudiced because they don't want to learn about what was Ethiopia doing in Arabia in the turn of the 6th century. Nobody wants to teach you this. I look through and I'm looking through academia. Academia on a whole, in terms of Islamic studies, don't want to teach you about this. They will always go on about the two superpowers, the Byzantine and the Sassanid empires. These were the ones that were ruling, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hold up. But I read history. I read the historical sources. They will tell you that the Ethiopian empire, Aksumite Empire, was larger than both the Byzantine and the Sassanid Empire. So why are you only focusing on these two? Obviously, racism's still alive, but they're just concealing it. Right? So there's racial prejudice. And again, my Christian don't want to hear this information. What? Muhammad was the name for our Christian God? Like Christians, racial hatred, religious hatred. They do not want to hear anything that ties them with Islam or ties them with Muhammad, okay, or ties them with the Quran. They don't want to do that. So they will just negate it and I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. Unfortunately, I'm just the bearer of the facts, historical facts. I am not in the camp of apologetics or polemics. I don't care about that. To me, that doesn't turn me on. I don't really care about who's got the most persuasive arguments and, hype. Doesn't make no difference to me because none of it is based on facts. I like facts. I like looking at things from an academic lens, historical lens. What was transpiring in the 6th to 7th century? That's my interest. I don't care about anything else. I'm not in the business of converting you from Christian to a Muslim or Muslim to a Christian. That doesn't entertain me or interest me in the least. I just care about what's the facts that we can find on the ground. So anyways, over here we have an inscription on the left hand side over here. You will see that there is an inscription JA 1028 that is July 523 CE, and it reads here. The last line is to be read as Rab Hud B. Mahmud or Muhammad. Okay, Lord of the Jews with the praised one. If you go into Christian Rabban's Judaism of the ancient kingdom of Himyar in Arabia, page 264, it has all of this information on there, and it will show you that this was an inscription that had two communes being mentioned, or two deities of the two communes being mentioned. The Jewish commune, i.e., the Lord of the Jews, and the Christian commune, which was Mahmud or Muhammad being mentioned. This is the name for the deity. Okay? So again, this is what I'm telling you. I want my Christians to start reclaiming hashtag reclaim Muhammad. Reclaim Mahmud. I really want you to reclaim it, because unfortunately a certain group of people have stolen your legacy, and there is nobody there to fight for that legacy of Christian history, or even African history, Abyssinian history, who actually had Mahmud or Muhammad as a deity. Right? So we're going to go into this. Let's just read. It says here, instantly, the term MHMD given to God is intriguing. It perhaps echoes a text invoking Rahmanan and Hamid Rahab, since in the second name, unfortunately also enigmatic, one finds the same root, Hamid. The spelling of the deity's name, MHMD, seems identical to that of Islam's prophet. One cannot be sure this identity is significant, because vocalization of these two names may differ. For example, Mahmud and Muhammad. We know that some reformers were nicknamed after the deity they claimed to worship. This could also have been the case with Muhammad. Okay, so scholarship, scholarship is identifying, and this is a different department from Islamic studies. This is South Arabian studies, actually doing archaeology and reading what's the inscriptions and what we can find on the ground of the material culture. They're realizing that this word name, Mahmud, MHMD, pre-existed the Islamic prophet, and the pre-existed the prophet of Islam, right? And this inscription shows that the name Muhammad is a derivative of this inscription. They're understanding that other reformers, other prophets, okay, you have prophets such as Musalama, which Muslims call Musaylima, yeah. He is nicknamed, or he is given the title Al-Rahman or Rahman. Then you have other prophets as well that was there during the time, such as Al-Aswad, meaning black, Al-Ansi, was also called Al-Rahman or Al-Rahman. All these, South Arabian prophets were named after the deity that they followed, the Christian deity that they followed, Rahmanan or Mahmud or Muhammad. Okay, so it's very interesting once you start learning history, archaeology, and start realizing that hold on a cotton picking moment here. So you're telling me that Muhammad has a Christian deity's name? What? Mind blowing. It should be mind blowing. Because according to the traditional narrative, why does this Central Northern Arabian person have a South Arabian Abyssinian Christian deity's name? Why? Why? Muhammad is not indigenous to North and Central Arabia. Just to let you know, the name is not indigenous to that area. That is a South Arabian / Abyssinian name. So the question is, how? Why does this northern person have a South Arabian name? This is the questions that people should be asking. But guess what? Nobody's asking these questions. Nobody at all is asking these questions. Why does Muhammad have a South Arabian name? Why is Muhammad named after the Christian god of South Arabia? Why? Why? Nobody's asking these questions. Continue. Right? Let's keep on going. Hey, family tree. Like, if you're enjoying the show so far, come on, like, you gotta drop some comments. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. Y'all trying to keep quiet on me. Anyways, so again, we're gonna bring you back to this time period again. This is the time period of Abraha. Now, according to Muhammed, which is like one of the earliest tafsir writers, died roughly 150 after Hijrah. It says here, the following two expeditions of Abraha al-Ashram al-Yemeni against Mecca. The first one was headed by Abu Yaqsa in order to destroy the Kaaba and establish the elephant as the object of worship. Now, what's interesting here is this Abyssinian Christian was trying to make the elephant an object of worship until you realize that what Abraham was trying to make the object of worship is, what was the name? Sorry, you got to start now asking yourself the question, what was the name of this elephant? The elephant's name was called Mahmud. These people, they're trying to figure out the past. things up, but they're trying to figure out the past. Abraham was trying to make Mahmud, the South Arabian / Abyssinian deity, the object of worship. Again, yeah. Again, which is very interesting. These little points here is very, very interesting when you start understanding that Muhammad / Mahmud was the name of the Abyssinian Christian deity. That's what was going on in the 6th century. And people who are now following Islam, they don't even know this. And again, this show here is for you Christians. I want you Christians to start educating my Muslim audience. Start educating them. That hold on. Did you know that your prophet was named after the Abyssinian Christian deity? Did you know that? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you start educating people these things because people don't know this stuff. All they know is 7th century onwards. All they know is the narrative of traditional Islam. That's all they know. I'm trying to get you lot to really educate people from a historical basis. Right? So let's keep on going. Again, if you go into the book of the Emirates, again, this is again in the 6th century. You see that in South Arabia, in Najran, one of the females that were actually martyred, her name was also called Mahmida. Okay, so we can find all throughout South Arabia Christians, okay, basically having this name. Okay, Christians having this name. And when I tell you that Muhammad is actually a Christian name, I don't want you lot to believe me. I actually want you lot to go and check out the sources and understand that Muhammad is a Christian name. It's the most Christian name of the 6th century. You wouldn't even believe it. Again, within some Islamic sources, they don't even hide it. They have a whole chapter talking about those who were named Muhammad before the Muhammad of Islam. One of these is called from the Banu Tamim, which is another Christian tribe. It says here there was Muhammad ibn Sufyan ibn Mujashi. He was an uskuf. They've got here brackets, monk, but the actual word here is bishop. So you're telling me that in the 6th century, yet again, Christian bishops were named Muhammad? Interesting stuff. In total, he names 5 people in Ibn Sa'ad's Tabaqat, 5 different people that were named to be, who were Christians that had the name Muhammad. Now, I want us to ask yourselves the question: Muhammad of the Islamic narrative, why does he have a Christian name? I'm just saying, why? These are the questions that you need to start asking. Why does he have a Christian name? And why does he have a South Arabian Christian name? That's the questions you're asking. I'm keep on telling you guys, right? What is stuff that you're learning Islam-wise is a stolen legacy of Abyssinian Christians. And I'm loving if you guys could start learning this information and start reclaiming it. I'm actually gonna go over to an article right now for you guys. Again, I said there is an article inside of the description box. So if you go there, you will find the article that I'm about to present to you guys. Or maybe I could just Google it real quickly. Can I Google it? Yeah, there we go. So let me share my screen. 1 second. Here we go. Right here. Okay. I'll put down here 2 sources, and I'm going to just quickly copy that. You literally should find that in the description. You should find that in the description box. Come on. There we go. Because I want you guys to do your research. There you go. Perfect. Okay. So, Banu Salam by Professor Michael Lecker, written in 1989. Okay. And over here, right, this is the contents page. And I want you just to make a quick note. It is going to be Sulaim and Mecca, right? Page 107 onwards. That is where I want you lot to go. And what's an interesting fact also is concerning the complexion of the Sulaimis. So a lot of the times you see me with these black or brown skin image of the people of Arabia, these Abyssinians, and you'll understand when you click here, right? It will tell you that these people were known to be very dark-skinned individuals. But for now, all I want you guys to do, follow along, is simply click on Sulaim and Mecca, because a lot of you guys were wondering, where can I find this information about this Muhammad that you keep on mentioning? This Muhammad ibn Khuzai, or this Muhammad ibn Kabsha, where can I find it? Right there. I want you guys to follow along. Please, click there. Talks about the Banu Dakhwan, Ibn Thalaba, Ibn Musa, and right here, it says here, Banu Dakhwan ibn Thalaba seem to have been the closest Salami allies of Mecca, both before Islam and in early Islamic period. Here we go. See, scholars are writing about him. It says here, Muhammed ibn Khuzaim was involved in Abraha's expedition against Mecca. Okay? I want you guys, please, in your own time. Oh, sugar, you don't know you're seeing it. Oh no, what happened? See, I don't see no what's we call it? You don't need to actually like, what's the word? You don't need to make noise, man. Like, drop some comments in the comment section, because you lot have been talking and I'm obviously thinking that you're seeing the screens that I'm showing, but you're not. How do I go? Let me go. Page 1. No, this is page 6. Okay. So right here, this is what I was showing you before. And I was telling you about concerning the complexion of the Salamis. Right? And you can click here and you can see that they were talked about regarding this very dark-skinned people. Imagine that. And then I told you to click literally, if you follow the link, you can click here, Sulaim and Mecca, and then it takes you over here, and then this is where we started reading from. And it says here, right here, if you want to learn about this individual that we're going to be discussing now, which is Muhammad ibn Khuzaim, who was the apostle of Arabia. Learn about it. It says here, Muhammad ibn Khuzaim was involved in Abraha's expedition against Mecca in the context of